So the internet has been all the buzz for the last couple of days because Amazon is stopped selling Mylar bags. So we're going to jump into this and find out what's really going on, because there's a lot of mass hysteria amongst the preppers and freeze-dry people and food storage people, because they think this is a big conspiracy that's happening. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of the problem and find out where this actually started and see if we can get the actual facts. Well, the first thing I noticed when I put in Amazon stop selling Mylar bags, here's all my search results. Now, if this was as bad as a problem as everyone is making it sound like, there'd be all sorts of articles and stuff like this on the first few pages of Amazon about selling Mylar bags. But as you can see, there's very little about. But here's one right here. Amazon tells sellers to ditch their Mylar stash bags, but this is not coming from Amazon. This is coming from this ecommercebytes.com. There's another announcement right here from packfreshutah.com about announcements with Amazon's bag on Mylar bags. Now, I'd rather trust PackFresh USA because they're a major supplier and manufacturer of oxygen absorbers in Mylar bags more than anyone else. So we're going to take a look at what's going on here. PackFresh is basically parodying the same thing that I've seen on several websites. They're saying, due to regulatory requirements, all Mylar bags that are not clear or single colored must be removed from the Amazon store by August 5th, 2022. And they're talking about, for more information on these requirements, go to Drug and Drug Paraphernalia 384. Now this right here, this reference is to a website that Amazon has, but unfortunately you have to be an Amazon seller to get in to read this document. That link takes you to this link, and now we're getting a little bit closer. We're actually now at an Amazon site, and right here they're once again talking about regulatory requirements that all Mylar bags, blah 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 blah, have to be pulled by August 5th, and they're saying, for more information, go to this site here. Now, when I click this, it will briefly flash the website, and then it'll ask me for a sign-on because it's only available to sellers. So there's a little flash, and then it gives me the sign-on. Well, because I'm recording this screen, I can now go back and take a screenshot of that little bit of a flash and see what it actually says. I was able to take a screenshot of that brief flash that went across my screen before it asked me to sign in, because this information is only for sellers. So basically, Amazon is concerned about Mylar bags being used for illicit drugs. And they're going through here and they're discussing and giving examples of what Mylar bags have been used for, about drug paraphernalia, and they're going through defining controlled substances, and they're talking about some kind of a compliance checklist for drug and drug paraphernalia. Because I'm not able to scroll down the screen and see everything, basically from what I'm getting from the research I've done so far, Amazon, or some of the sellers for Amazon, have been probably doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and Amazon will have no such relationship with them. And instead of just weeding out the garden with the bad apples, they're going to shut the door on everybody. And so I believe that's the stand that Amazon is now going to take. Now, what does this mean to all of the people who have freeze-drying machines? Well, for example, every seller that sells on Amazon also has their own websites. For example, Pleasant Grove Farms sells on Amazon, and I have bought their products through Amazon. I've also purchased their products through Pleasant Grove Farms. So this is really not going to affect us that much. Now, if you have a Prime account and you like the next day air service and all those little niceties, well, we will be affected by that, by maybe a certain level of service. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to go back to individual sellers to get our supplies. Now, I can't let this rest here. So, they're talking about this controlled substance, and they're talking about compliance checklists and these other things. So I did some checking on my own. As I said before, there is a lot of hysteria on the internet on why this is happening. There's one individual that's on YouTube that's saying that the government is trying to identify who has freeze-dried foods and who has large amounts of food storage, so in case of an emergency they can come and seize your food. Well, I think some cooler heads need to prevail right now, and I wanted to get some more information about this. So I called my local office of the Drug Enforcement Agency, and I spoke to the duty agent, and I was describing to him the issues with Amazon. And he put me on hold for a minute and came back, and he actually discussed the same issue with one of his colleagues who has a freeze drying machine. And he has not heard anything about the Drug Enforcement Agency and Mylar bags. So because he could not give me a written statement, he sent me and gave me the contact information with the Food and Drug Administration in Washington, D.C., and they're the only ones that can give out press releases or any written statements. So yesterday I did contact them, and I asked for a written statement concerning Mylar bags being sold on Amazon, and I'm waiting on that reply from them. While I was talking to my newest friend from the Drug Enforcement Agency, he referred me to United States Code 21 CFR 1300, which deals with the authority and definitions for the Drug Enforcement Agency. He made clear to me that Mylar is not even mentioned anywhere in this document. So this is a federal code of regulations that oversees the Drug Enforcement Agency, and we're going to go through here really quick to discuss the whole issue with Amazon on what is a controlled substance and what is drug paraphernalia. So there's a lot of stuff that this deals with. There's a lot of pages, and the easiest way to go through this really quick is by doing a search. So we're going to come over here, we're going to hit Control F. Well, I wanted to start searching the database of federal regulations that oversee the Drug Enforcement Agency. So the first thing I'm going to put in is the word Mylar to see if there's any matches, and it searches the entire database and it comes up with 0 matches. Okay, well, let's try bag, and nothing under bags. Let's try package. Okay, so we have 7 references dealing with package, and they're all here in the same location. Now this right here basically talks about commercial containers, but it kind of goes through and it lists and they define what a package is that could carry drugs perhaps. Now down here under manufacture, it has the word package, and basically this is means of producing, preparation, prolonging, compounding, or processing of a drug or substance in a package or repackaging, and it kind of goes through the whole thing. Well, this kind of comes close to what we do when we package up food, but once again, it does not say anything about Mylar or vinyl. The next Google search I did was under Section 21 of the United States Code 863, drug paraphernalia. Now this is what Amazon is referring to, so we're going to take a look at this, just like as we did with the other information, and this is a government website. So the next search I performed was going to U.S. Code 21863 that actually deals with the legal definition of drug paraphernalia is. And this is everything that Amazon has been recently citing on why they're going to discontinue Mylar bags. Well, if you come down here to subsection D, it has the definition. And they go through and they're talking about metal, acrylic, stone, ceramic pipes without screens, and water pipes, and carburation pipes, and smoking, and chamber pipes, and electric pipes, and all these bongs and things of that nature. And so in very clear words, they're laying down what the definition of drug paraphernalia is. Well, and nowhere in this document is the word Mylar or polyester or bag or container. So there's nothing to be found here that would include Mylar bags. Now, I did find something interesting in section E. Now, this is matters considering in determination of what constitutes drug paraphernalia. And you think, oh, maybe this is where Mylar is located. But if you come down here, you can see everything, and there's nothing like that except for down on number 8. I thought this would have to be a really big stretch, but it'd be expert testimony concerning its use. So if someone got on the stand in a court trial and said that Mylar was used to transport drugs, then I guess you could say that Mylar could be a drug paraphernalia because an expert witness said it was. So that's a bit of a stretch, but through all my research, I have not found anything in U.S. code dealing with Mylar. But I do have one more source to go to, but we have to go across the pond. I did find this interesting article on the internet from a guy that has a shop by the name of mylarshop.com, and he's based out of the United Kingdom. And this article is dog-proof Mylar bags are Mylar bags used to store drugs. This article, which I found to be very interesting, talks about the history of Mylar, which was invented in the 1950s by DuPont, and basically ever since it was invented, it has been tied to drug smugglers and illicit activities, because Mylar is a very sturdy bag. It doesn't let odors or sunlight through, and everyone had this idea that Mylar would be a perfect container to put your drugs into, to ship them without being caught by dog sniffing dogs and such. You can take a look at this article on your own, but once again, Mylar, I think in this case, is getting a bad rap, and there's a lot of hysteria about the Drug Enforcement Administration and Amazon. Before I leave you, there's one last document I want to review with you, and that is the Bill of Rights. If we come down here to the Fourth Amendment, it clearly says, the Fourth Amendment bars the government from unreasonable search and seizures of an individual or their private property. Now, there's a lot of hysteria going on in the internet today about Amazon and their Mylar bags, and that the government is using this to control the food supply, or they're going to try to seize your food supply, and it's big brother, and whatever the case might be. But we are guaranteed in the Fourth Amendment to be protected in our homes and in our persons. And so I think once this hysteria dies down, I think everyone will realize that this was a big for nothing event. You can still buy Mylar bags from individual sellers. You just won't be able to buy them from Amazon, which is not a big problem because Amazon usually threw on their cut and increased the prices by a few dollars. If you are a person that purchases Mylar bags from Amazon, there's going to be a lot of other places that buy your Mylar bags, and I will place a list at the end of this video on locations where you can still purchase Mylar bags. Mylar bags are not going to disappear. They're here to stay, and it is not a conspiracy with the Drug Enforcement Administration to get rid of Mylar bags. That's just plain false and silly. Anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and like I said in the past, go forth and freeze dry the world, and don't let this worry you. Thank you. Well, my first recommendation is a no-brainer, and that's Harvest Right. Harvest Right has Mylar bags, and Harvest Right will always have Mylar bags. They do get the award for the prettiest bag in the industry, although you might end up paying a few more pennies for the pretty picture on their bags. So Harvest Right is always a place you can go to get your supplies. Well, the next one I've dealt with is Pleasant Grove Farm. If you look for Pleasant Grove Farm on the internet, you will not find them. They are under top Mylar. And when Harvest Right ran out of Mylar bags during the COVID issue and supply chain issues, Pleasant Grove Farms was always a good stand-in for good quality Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. And I have tested both these companies, and they do have a good product. The next one is kind of an odd source that I stumbled upon, and it's the Church of Jesus Christ. I think their proper name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have really good pricing and they got really good product, but it's kind of hard to find. You have to go to this website. It's store.churchofjesuschrist.org, and once you get to the search bar, you can kind of get lost. But if you put in the search bar the keyword food storage foil pouch, you'll get these bags you can see right there. They also have oxygen absorbers. Now, the neat thing about this outfit is you do not need to be a member of their church, but you do need to register for an account, and they are a non-profit organization, and so the prices are a little bit better. Now, one thing about the bags, I may have said Mylar, but if you look at the description, they actually say food storage foil pouch. They are not Mylar, and they do not claim to be Mylar. I believe they're a foil polyester bag, and you can buy them in eaches. If you want 7 bags, they'll sell you 7 bags. If you want 123, they'll sell you 123. So I think the best way of getting product from them is cut and paste this internet address for the bags and cut and paste the internet address for the absorbers, and I think things will work just fine. The other sources I have here are online sources. I have not done any research on them. I actually have an order right now pending for wallabies. I ordered this 2.5 months ago, and they have sent me countless emails asking for my forgiveness for late orders, and they've given me 10% refund and all sorts of things. And so as soon as I get my wallaby order, I am going to do a buyer beware segment. I'm also going to be doing a buyer beware segment on a new company I stumbled onto that has some pretty good pricing, and that's vacuumsealersunlimited.com. PackFresh USA, Multisorb, and Uline are also very well-known companies and have a pretty good reputation. So these 6 companies, or actually no, these 7 companies I've highlighted here are not the end-all be-all of all companies, and there's many more companies out there. There's individual YouTube people who are out there that also sells product. Retired 40 also has, I believe, Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers available through his own little independent store. So there's other places you can get product. So I would not fret about Amazon and what Amazon is doing. They're doing something that's probably, it has some legal issues surrounding it, but not to worry. Preppers and freeze dryers, you're going to be able to get your product still. The government is not out to get you. So let's kind of settle down the mass hysteria and just take a breath. But anyway, there you go. And I hope this has been helpful. And go forth and freeze dry the world, and please subscribe. Thank you for your time.